Hi, and welcome to On the Road. I'm Bobby Halton, and we're at FDIC 2008. And right now we're talking with Jerry Knapp from Rockland County Training Academy. And Jerry's been up there teaching now for
about 25 years.
About 25 years. Authored dozens and dozens of articles for fire engineering. Fascinating stuff. So I was just asking Jerry a couple of questions about being in a training academy. How do you decide what kind of training you're going to put on? What's relevant? What's important? What changes have you seen? So what's the big? A couple of years ago we were all doing saving our own. We're all diving out of windows, and now that's kind of become a normal part of the curricula, if you will, for Firefighter 1 and our regular annual training. What's the new buzz today? What's everybody doing?
I think the new buzz is engine company operations. You can do a lot of things right and wrong in the fire ground. If you don't put the fire out, things continue to get worse. So we've kind of gone back to basics, to making sure we get the right amount of water at the right place at the right time in a repeatable fashion.
Yeah, I remember old Andy saying, you never have to jump out of a window if you put the fire out.
That's true. Yeah. And that's kind of our philosophy. We see a lot of companies pulling up with a bright new engine, and they're not sure how much water they're getting out. Oftentimes they can't get the line stretched, get them in the right place at the right time. So that's kind of our focus right now. But really our focus comes from the customers. What do the fire departments out there need? So we see ourselves as the first line of defense, not only for the recruit training, but the refresher training. A lot of what we do is perishable skills. And yeah, you've done something 10 years ago, but you need to be refreshed on it so you can do it properly.
So by perishable, you mean something that if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. What's a good example of something that you think that's something critical that somebody needs to look at like every year?
The answer to that is really simple: everything.
Okay.
Everything. And obviously you can't do everything every year, but I think that's where the fire service, we tend to go wrong. If we were a football team, we'd practice our favorite play repeatedly. We'd practice it right before the game. And as firefighters, I think we need to think about the same thing. We need to, and there's so much to continue to be sharp on that. You asked the question, what's hot today? Well, the basics are always hot, so that's our staple. And basic truck, basic engine, basic rescue stuff, and then whatever else these companies are dealing with. For example, we have a hazmat team. Our hazmat team is out on the thruway a lot, dealing with vehicles, tanker trucks. So obviously we have a little focus training those guys. We've just linked up with our bomb squad, the Rockland County Bomb Squad, and for WMD events or terrorism events, there's the explosive component and there's the chem component. So we're looking at working closer with those guys. So really our focus is twofold. It's very basic, and what does the customer need? We see those departments as our customers. Well,
that's a great way to approach any business. So when we talk about doing the basics and we talk about doing things, what is new then? I mean, we saw the bailout at hot training. I know you were out there at the hot training, and we had the new bailout system from FDNY. You think that's going to be something, Jerry, that everybody's going to want to see, that's going to be something that eventually will be part of every firefighter's ensemble?
I think it is, and I think it will be, but I think what really is important is new is, again, putting the fire out. If we, like Andy said, we put the fire out, we don't have to jump out the window.
There's a shocker. I remember when I came on, the engines flowed as much water as that engine could possibly flow. We drowned people. I mean, we just literally soaked the fires. Then came this whole property conservation deal where you don't want to do unnecessary water damage. And I'll never forget Frank Brannigan right here saying, "Son, you burn it to the ground, there's no water damage." That was Frank Brannigan's line, and he was absolutely right. I mean, the thing's on fire. Right. We had a county guy one time. We rolled up backing this kid up, and he's just kind of dashing the fire with his nozzle. I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm conserving my water." Yeah. We said to him, "Son, if 500 fast doesn't put it out, 500 slow ain't the answer."
What we say is how do you make a 180 gallon a minute nozzle flow 90 gallons a minute? You flow for 32 seconds.
Yeah, there you go.
It's that kind of. I think nozzles are there's been some changes in technology. The low pressure combination nozzles, I think, are a great thing. They obviously operate at the same pressure as a smoothbore would. So we're looking at embracing technology properly. Not every gadget is good for us, but I think there's some good things out there.
I'll never forget Pete Cansey once saying that anybody who thinks that we couldn't come up with a better nozzle in 250 years, it just doesn't belong in the fire service anymore.
I think there's a big caveat to that. There's some real gadgets out there that are great ideas that don't work, the salespeople will try to sell those to you, and sure, there's advantages to them. But the question is, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? You need to evaluate that for yourself.
I was never a big fan of the slugs. the short stubby tips, and they tell you, well, it's a smoothbore too, but it didn't shape well.
Right.
I mean, if you're going to have a smoothbore, it really needs to have that. You know, the design is critical to me, and I like a good stream.
And that's kind of what our focus is in Rockland County. We're trying to fine-tune what the guys do. It's not just water coming out of a nozzle. Is it the right amount? Is it in the right place? Is the stream, is it an adequate stream? Does it have the reach you want? By the way, what do you want? You know, I want to flow this much. Great. Well, let's make it repeatable so your firefighter in a nozzle can get the same amount of water each time.
Well, what are you doing about things like calves and foam? Doing any training on that?
We're not doing much with calves. We're doing a lot with Class B foam. You know, with ethanol being a huge, it's going to be a big deal.
It's huge.
And so
and the issue there too is also flow.
Right.
I mean, you get an ethanol fire. Not only do you need the right foam, you need lots of it and high flow.
It's actually double the application rate for a hydrocarbon. So that's, you know, we're trying to get the guys up to speed on that. That your 60 or 90 gallon minute nozzle is going to cover less fire now because your application rate is double. So that's been a big thing for us as well.
Yeah, I think that the ethanol issue is going to be something that is going to start to really get a lot of traction. We had Troy Johnson from North Carolina wrote a great piece on that for us a few months ago about the real technical aspects of ethanol and ethanol firefighting foam, and brilliant piece. I think a lot of people, because it was so technical, didn't understand the relevance of it. You know, we're going to need to keep hammering that home. These ethanol fires, you get one on a bridge or a roadway, you're going to lose that piece of real estate.
Sure.
So,
and you may not be able to see the flames, and again, your foam's not going to go as far. Something else I learned interesting about ethanol is that they can't put it in a pipeline.
That's exactly right, because it's too corrosive.
Yeah.
It's all coming by rail or it's coming by truckload. And it's interesting to me that they put it in underground storage tanks then.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Well, gasoline tanks, they're underground, underground tanks. So you got something that's too corrosive to be in a pipeline, but
now you got it underground.
Yeah, so you met the government, we're here to help you.
There you go.
So you wonder about that. I mean, I wonder about it.
You know, you mentioned about the railroad as well. We have the CSX main line runs through our county, and they scatter some cars every once in a while. We're pretty suburban now. We're a little bit rural when I was growing up, but it's more suburban now, and we've got lots of people near the track. So getting the communities ready and getting that fire department ready to go to a rail incident with, you know, you got one car, you got 30,000 gallons of whatever spilled out in your town. Not a good thing.
And I'll tell you, CSX probably the only hands-on training class at any fire training event in the history of mankind was right here at this last time.
Yeah, it was. I saw that in the brochure. Those guys do great work.
And they did a great job.
Their safety record is tremendous. I don't want to mash on their safety
great
record.
guys. And God bless CSX. They let us come on their property, gave us a locomotive.
Yeah.
You know, let us climb all over it and play with it.
You know, that's one of the things we've done in Rockland. We've cultivated that relationship with CSX because, man, when you need those guys, you know, we need each other at that point.
You have no idea how big those things are till you climb one.
Exactly.
You need a 24-footer to get to the cab.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
We had a tunnel fire in the mid-'70s. We have a couple of tunnels through the mountains, and that was about a 3-day adventure. That was scary.
It's something else that, you know, fire department. Somebody said it earlier today. You call, we're coming.
Oh yeah.
The priest gave a great talk the other day. He said, you know, the story about the soldier who gets wounded in Vietnam, and the other soldier goes to get him, and they both end up passing away. And they said, why did you do that? You knew you'd get killed? And he said, you know what he said when I got to him? I knew you'd come. Well, the public knows we'll come, so we got to keep getting better. We need to keep looking at what's the problems or the potential problems, and keep coming up with how we're going to do them effectively and safely.
Exactly. In Rockland, we're looking at two things also: firefighter leadership and fire officer leadership. What we found at the county level is we build great firefighters, but we haven't done so good with the officers. So one of our pushes now is let's get some leadership training in there, and we've incorporated leadership training into all of our programs. So in fact, in the classes I teach, I say, okay, here's your firefighter responsibilities, here's your officer's responsibilities. Going back to the railroads, what we tell them is, if you're taking your team to that game, have you practiced? And gee, we didn't think about that. Well, you all better, because like you said, you're going to get called, you're going to go, and you want to be ready when you get there.
Yeah. Jerry, well, thank you very much for teaching for us this year, and all the writing you do and all the hard work you're doing for the fire service. We absolutely love the fact that you're a member of the fire engineering family. I'm Bobby Halden. We're on the road. Be careful out there.